I'm going to be horrible this hour. I'm going to be really horrible about a lot of people. But the people I'm going to be horrible about are the people who use their phones on, not just on trains, we're going to focus on public transport because the Lib Dems public transport or transport spokesperson is the person we've interviewed, and they are calling for a crackdown on what they call headphone dodgers. People on trains, buses, wherever, planes now as well, it happens on, where they just play their music or have a conversation on speakerphone as though they're sitting in their own living room. I am, and forever will be, astounded when people do this. I'm astounded every single time. To me, it is the equivalent of peeing in the aisle. I think it's that much of a public contravention of normal public behaviour. And the idea that you could, little kids is a whole other question. Their parents are responsible for that. But the idea that you can get to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of age and not realise that sitting on a bus or a train with your own music or your own phone conversation blaring around the whole carriage or space, the idea that you don't know that that is a disgrace, I'm not buying it. I'm Paul Kohler, who you'll hear from in a moment, the MP, Lib Dem transport spokesman, is a much nicer person than me. He thinks most people who do it because they don't realise that it's intrusive to other people. Nonsense. Of course they realise. Most people do realise. There might be reasons here and there why some people don't. There might be reasons here and there why some people need to listen to their phone in that way. You tell me if you're one such person. But most people are just being horribly selfish and immature. They're being giant toddlers, narcissists who don't give a stuff about anybody else's comfort. Now, I know there are people out there who think that in my attitude, and those who share my attitude, who think that you should be, broadly speaking, relatively quiet or softly spoken in public places. And I don't mean like a sort of silent robot sitting on your hands. I don't mean that. And I don't mean, children can be exuberant. And of course, I don't mind. Even adults who are together having a good old laugh on the train on the way. I'm not looking for total silence. I'm not some kind of monastic maniac who thinks everywhere should be silent. But I do think we should, just broadly speaking, be aware of who's around us and what their needs might also be. And so I am pathologically opposed to people who do this. I have to contain myself on a regular basis on trains on the way to work and back, because I could cheerfully, I'm not going to ever, obviously, but I could cheerfully punch the people who do it. I won't. It's a turn of phrase. And the responses I've had when I have challenged people have been mostly negative. And not only that, the other people in the carriage who are just as annoyed by it as me sit on their hands and don't do a thing, and then look at you as though you're the maniac when you say, any chance you could just consider other people with that noise? And they look at you as though you're strange. And that I'll never understand. A bit of backup, lads, would be nice. A bit of backup would be nice. Anyway, I can moan a lot more. I will moan a lot more between now and 4, but I want you to phone and moan as well. 0345 6060 973. Maybe moan at me if you disagree with me and you think I'm being a right old foddy-doddy about it. Maybe you do. I know that I'm completely right. Chris in Leeds, hello.
Hey, Sheila, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Exacerbated a little bit, I think.
Well, hysterical, I think, is a good description. It drives me absolutely nuts. Yeah.
Well, I tend to agree. I was telling your colleague, I do several trips I'm from Leeds, and I do several trips from Leeds to London on a weekly basis. And I'm normally on the first train out, which is 5:05. So it's very early. I've normally been up since 3:45 or 4 a.m. to get ready. And I enjoy just at least trying to close my eyes for maybe half an hour of that journey before I get to London. And I try and stack the odds in my favour by going into what used to be called the quiet coaches.
Ah, the quiet coaches, yeah.
And you used to get announcements on the tannoy saying any phone calls, can you do them in the vestibule area? That doesn't happen anymore. Mm-hmm. And then equally, I've noticed last week, it's now been renamed the quieter coach from the quiet coach. And I have no idea why that is, but people just insist on getting into that. It's a complete disregard, and I know I sound like an old fuddy-duddy at the minute.
Welcome, Chris.
Complete disregard for the rule of order on a massive train where there's several coaches you could go in.
Yeah. The companies have completely bent over on this one completely.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And I'm not unreasonable. I'm not asking people to not have conversations, but not at 5:30 a.m. come in and having a huge, massive phone call where it's hugely loud on the actual phone. And what the thing that really gets to me, to be quite frank, is when people put it on loudspeaker and then put the phone to their ear. It's like, if you're going to do that anyway, then just have a normal phone call.
Yeah.
And I suppose the last thing, without rabbiting on, the last thing I would say...
No, rabbit on. This is my idea of heaven. Go on.
To your point on, the policing of this, constantly you hear on the trains, see it, say it, sorted. So there's a number you can text, and the reason for that, and I'm not suggesting calling the police, but I mean, at least some sort of anonymous text messaging services to the conductor who's on the actual train, the train guard, and they're able to walk by and, in inverted commas, spot this and have a conversation. Because let's be fair, what you do is extremely brave by confronting somebody. We've seen the incidents. We've seen how people can react and overreact. And it's not safe for people to do that, quite frankly.
No.
But if there was anonymous kind of, look, I'm in Coach H, there's somebody acting antisocially, and it goes straight to the conductor on that particular train, then it allows them to just walk by and deal with the situation, which is what, effectively, you would argue they might be capable.
I honestly think the way to do it is to say... I would be very hard on people on this. I would say, if let's say there is a manager on the train, because often there isn't, and I would, in an ideal world where you had proper staffing, I would have somebody made to get off the train.
Yeah, well, I agree as well. Yeah,
I'd just say, if they refused, obviously, that's not your first port of call, but if they just said, get lost, I'm just playing a bit of music, I'd say, right, well, you've got to get off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do agree with you. I think there is definitely purpose in what people do sometimes.
Oh, they know.
You can always tell when it's and I mean this completely respectfully, but an older person who maybe hasn't got a massive, great hearing, and you can hear the shouting down the phone as well. You can kind of maybe forgive that.
Well, it's funny, Chris, because I've yielded completely on phone conversations. So somebody having a phone conversation next to me used to drive me mad. But now if they have a phone conversation to their ear and I can't hear the other end, I just think, well, that's just a person speaking next to me in the way that they might if they were talking to me. But when you hear the the tinny conference call coming back at you, and then or the music that somebody or repeat music videos, or TikTok video after TikTok video after TikTok video, it's a form of torture. It is a form of torture. What would you put on the tannoy? I in an ideal world, my tannoy would be scathing. What would you put on the tannoy?
I'd probably something sarcastic like, please understand, passengers, that people also pay for their tickets and deserve a chance to actually travel in peace. Yeah. So, kindly, and keep your TikTok feed to yourselves. Thank you.
I don't think that's sarcastic enough, Chris. Come on. You're in Leeds. You're a Yorkshireman. You can do better than this.
I'm also on the radio, so we won't say what I would truly say.
Same here. Same here.
PG one.
Same here. Okay. PG rating. Thank you, Chris. Great to speak to you too. Michael says, I can't call Sheila right now because I'm on a bus. I feel really embarrassed talking on the phone in public. Well, thank you for texting, Michael. Am I more bothered than I need to be?
I think you are, because, I know you've had a discussion about this subject on a numerous amount of times, but I'm struggling to understand why is it so important that we have to talk about it. And in this day and age, I don't really know why it annoys people so much. I mean, I go through it every day, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
When you say you go through it every day, what do you go through every day?
Yeah, I hear people talking on their phones, listening to music, interacting with social media.
On a speakerphone?
Occasionally it might be on a speakerphone.
No, but that's specifically what we're talking about here. We're not talking about people speaking. We're talking about the other end of the conversation speaking, or somebody having their phone on loud with music or videos as though it was a radio.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether I'm the odd one out, but I'll be honest with you, it doesn't bother me in the slightest, and I'm the sort of person that I don't like travelling on public transport when it's absolutely quiet. I prefer when there's lots going on.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not asking for total silence. There's in no way am I looking for total silence. I mean, it's quite nice if you can have a bit of peace, of course, but that's not what I'm saying is essential. But let me ask you this, John. If everybody, because when I played those Beatles tracks to make the point to the man with the music, with the videos loud, when I played them, the point I was making was he genuinely thought that it was okay for him to do that. And yet when I did the exact same thing that he was doing, suddenly, it's a disgrace. It's awful. You're only doing it to make a point. And I said, yes, I am. But I'm enjoying making the point every bit as much as you're enjoying the videos or your child is enjoying the videos. And the point I made then to him and others is if everybody got on a train or whatever kind of place we're talking about, or if everybody went into a hospital waiting room, if everybody went into the dentist waiting room and played what was on their phone, musically, videos, conversations with their friends on speakerphone, if we all did that, trust me, it would send people to ill health for sure.
Really?
Absolutely. Noise. There's evidence all over the place that noise has too much of it has an impact on our health.
Okay.
And
so what you're saying is that what you don't really like is if it's above a certain volume.
no, I just think don't put it on. If you're speaking, fine. A human voice speaking. Well, what are you going to do? So a human voice is speaking. That's fine. But the tech version of a human voice coming down the other end of a speakerphone, when you could easily get the cheapest pair of headphones known to man and use that instead, and not make me listen to your choice of music or not make me listen to your videos or whatever it happens to be. It's the tiniest social grace that we're asking for here.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I'm on public transport and I'm listening to people talking in another language or interacting with social media in another language or listening to music of another language, I actually find it quite interesting. And I'm sort of a people watcher.
I'm a people watcher. It's nothing to do with other languages. I don't mind people speaking other languages one bit. It's if I'm having to hear a full, loud conversation in that language, whatever language it is, English or any other language, on a phone coming back at me, or people's music really loudly or videos really loudly. What you're saying when you sit next to somebody in public and do that, what you're saying is, what I want must also be part of your experience today. I am imposing my choice of music, my family life, my conversation with my daughter, and these are all things that have happened to me, my conversation with my daughter in the kitchen at home, my conversation with somebody at work who I'm discussing an appraisal with, out loud, big loud volume. You must hear that too. I think it is it's aggressive. It's tantamount to aggressive, John. I'm delighted for you and your ears that it doesn't bother you.
In the 90s, I left the army and I went to university in Hull, and I used to have to get a train into Hull. And it was just the time when the mobile phone thing was taking off, and also people were playing music out of ghetto blasters and whatever. Now, I did confront people, but it got, I don't know, confrontation.
Yes.
Basically, it got a bit boring. And I'm a musician, and I would always carry a very small two-piece sopranino recorder. And so when this music was being played, I would take out my sopranino recorder and start playing the recorder, which is a piercing instrument. And it had the most remarkable effect because it amused all the other people in the carriage. And the music went.
And was it a kind of like a child's recorder?
No, it's small. It's a concert sopranino. It's
right.
The child's recorder, the school recorder is the soprano.
Right.
And this is smaller and more piercing.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So.
And would you play a tune or just scales?
Well, the first thing I would do is start playing Greensleeves very badly. And then I'd run through a few
Charles,
scales.
you're my kind of guy.
And then the Glen Bay hornpipe.
Excellent.
off to California, Harvest Home, some of the folk songs, some of the Irish stuff that I used to do in the pubs in Ireland or whatever.
Yeah. And do you want your old lobby washed down, that kind of thing? Yeah.
Well, that's not really a whistle tune, but I knew Brendan Shine quite well.
Oh, did you? Did you?
Yeah, but anyway, but the effect was really quite electrifying. The other thing I used to do occasionally was to join in on conversations when people were sitting next to me and blaring away to their mother, and it was coming back on speaker, and I would sort of say, well, ask her about Uncle John and things like that.
I love it. Did you ever get punched in the face, Charles? Tell the truth.
Well, no, as I say, I'm quite a robust character. I've been in the army for 24 years, and it just never happened. But it did. I always got a lot of laughter. Always.
Oh, good. Well, that's nice. So you kind of... You managed to make music.
Sheila, the other people sit in the carriage and they don't like what's going on with their bloody hippity hop or whatever's coming out very loud. And they find it very funny when I start playing Greensleeves.
Nobody found it funny when I played the Beatles. Some of their classics. I Want to Hold Your Hand, Please Mr. Postman. I need to learn to do it on that instrument of yours, don't I? And then might be different.
Okay, well, that's my two penneth.
Well, I enjoyed it very much. I'm just disappointed you don't have the recorder with you now.
Well, actually, I've always got them around, and guitars and mandolins and all the whole thing. But I have to go to an appointment with a doctor. So
well, you must.
It's nothing serious.
Good. Just don't play the recorder to him, because it might get serious after that. Thank you very much, Charles. Charles in Dax. Nick has called from Manchester. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Sheila, how are you?
I'm okay. You with me or against me?
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Basically, that's all right. Obviously, with all the noise, I personally, I'm neurodivergent. I've got ASD, so I struggle when there's a lot of noise. It sends me haywire, so I try and avoid public transport all the time. So obviously people putting their speakers on, listening to music, having phone calls, it can be quite distressing and make me feel quite uncomfortable. Obviously they don't know that I've got ASD, but at the same time they don't care either. The next level will mention is they use portable speakers as well, because obviously the sound on the phone's rubbish, but they want something slightly better, so they go and get one of these little portable speakers, turn it up.
Yeah, I know. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there are people who have speakers in their backpacks, aren't there?
Yeah.
And they just wander around. So literally wherever they go, they bleed their sound all over the streets. I mean, you know, like I say, this is why I say, to me, it is like peeing in public. What the hell are you doing? Everybody doesn't need to have the impact of you wherever they go.
Oh, hell yeah. Plus the music's rubbish as well, in my opinion. So.
What do we do about it, though? Because I can't see it being solved without a real, quite punitive effort. I just can't see it being solved.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, obviously... Police might have some powers if they can be bothered to be a presence around the area.
It's not a police. It can't be a police issue.
No.
It can't really.
There's noise disturbance, though, isn't it? So you could.
Yes, but I think it's about, you know, there's all kinds of things we don't do in public, you know, because of norms that we've created. I just think nobody bothered to try to make this a norm not to do it. No. And the transport companies, shame on all of them. They're doing nothing about it.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely nothing. Do you avoid... I mean, if it starts hurting them in the pocket, it might make them do something about it. Do you avoid public transport at all because of it?
I do. I drive everywhere now.
No.
Yeah. I try. Where I can, I will avoid public transport. And if I have to get public transport, I will try and find the quietest area. But obviously, like a caller said earlier on, the quieter carriage.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah. Quieter than the cacophony disco just next door. Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. Thanks, Nick.